everyone, Chris here, and welcome to my channel. And welcome to my Bookoplathon reading vlog. So Bookoplathon has officially started. It started at 7 p.m. my time. It is now almost 8:30. I'm a little behind because Rampage was on at 7 and I was watching my wrestling while it was live. We already had the first two prompts. They were Gods and Short Book. For Gods, I'm going to read the Sword of Summer, which is the first book in the Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series. This, I believe, is the only Rick Riordan series I haven't started or read anything of, so I'm excited to check this out. It's based on Norse mythology, I believe, so I'm definitely thinking there's going to be gods in it, especially considering, you know, the name of the series is the Gods of Asgard. And then for Short Book, I'm going to read River by Aaron Hunter. This book clocks in at 250 pages, so definitely a short book. I'm going to be listening to the audiobook, so it should take me around 2 hours, I think, because I'll be able to listen to it on 3x speed. Both of these books are for my next round of 5-star predictions, so you'll have to wait for that video to hear what I think of them, but I will be reading them for the first two prompts. I'm hoping I can maybe do a book for every single prompt that gets rolled, but we'll see. I think there is a decent chance I might, because it is supposed to be 93 here tomorrow and then 92 on Sunday, and I've put my air conditioner in, so I will be spending most of my time sitting around trying not to move much to, you know, make it so I don't need to be any hotter than I am, and enjoying the air conditioning. So, reading? So my plan is to read these. I think I should be able to finish this, like I said, relatively quickly, and hopefully tonight, and maybe make a good dent on this before bed. I will not be up for the next roll drops because I believe they come every 12 hours, which would mean that the next roll drops come at 7 a.m. my time. I will be sleeping at that point. Like 100% sure we'll definitely be sleeping. So I will have to figure out what I want to read for the next prompts when I get up. And hopefully they work with books that are either already on my TBR or books that I have out of the library that I was maybe hoping to get to in June for whatever-a-thon, depending on what they are, or books that I can easily get via like Kindle Unlimited or my library access or Scribd or my own physical TBR, but we'll see. So I'm going to stop chatting and I'm going to go start reading. So it is Saturday afternoon and I'm getting ready to read. My update for last night is for the Gods prompt. I am reading The Sword of Summer, which is the first book in the Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series. I made it to page 284 last night, so decent progress on this. I knew this was going to be a bit of a chunky book and would take me a little bit of time to read, but I'm making my way through it. I basically ended up going to bed around like 4:30 when I just could not keep my eyes open anymore. This is a 5-star prediction, so I won't be talking about whether I like it or not or anything like that, but making progress in the God prompt. Also a 5-star prediction is the book I picked for Short Book, which is River by Aaron Hunter. I'm on page 70, so progress in this. I should hopefully be able to finish both of these today. The roll drops I woke up to this morning were ebook or audiobook, and I think for this I'm going to be reading Legends and Lattes, which I've read like the first 19 pages of, but it is the only ebook I have, and I don't typically read ebooks, so hopefully I can make decent progress on that. And then for color in the title, I'm going to go with a Warriors novella, and it is in this bind up, and it's called Red Tail's Debt. And we're going to be getting a tiny look at a point in Red Tail's life. So it's under 100 pages, so it should be a quick read, which should help balance out some of the longer reads I've had. I don't think I can finish all 4 of them before the next roll drops at 7, because it's 1:22 my time, and the next roll drops obviously come at 7 my time. But I can hopefully maybe finish these 3. And then I would just have Legends and Lattes, and then whatever I decide to do for the next 2 roll drops. We'll see. Either way, I'm hoping to make some decent progress today, and I will check back in with you at 7 when I get the next roll drops and let you know what I'm planning on reading and how I've done on the books I'm currently working on. So it is now Sunday, and it is 2:30 in the afternoon, which means I have 4.5 hours left in the readathon, and I did not check in because I was busy reading. So I'm going to start with the first roll drop. The first roll drop were Gods and Short Book. For Gods, I read The Sword of Summer, which is the first book in the Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series. I've finished this. It's a 5-star prediction, so I'm not going to tell you what I rated it, but I do have it finished. For Short Book, I read another 5-star prediction, and that was River by Aaron Hunter. This clocks in at like 250 pages. I have now finished this. Again, 5-star prediction, won't be talking about it. Then the second roll drop included Color in the title, and for this I read Red Tail's Debt. It's part of this bind-up. It's a novella in the Warrior series, and we're getting a look at Red Tail, who is a cat we have heard about in the Warriors series. I really enjoyed this. I love any of the novellas or graphic novels or mangas or super editions because they kind of fill in different bits and pieces of the world that the arcs don't fill in, and this was no exception. It was really cool getting to learn more about Red Tail, who is a cat we know from the first arc, and this book takes place before the first arc. So that was really cool to get to see some of Red Tail and to get a glimpse into the clan before the first arc of book started. Then I had audiobook or ebook, and for this I read Legends and Lattes, and I gave this book 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. It is a cozy fantasy. I love cozy mysteries, but this doesn't really have a mystery to it. It follows an orc who decides to open a coffee shop in a place where most people haven't heard of coffee. And I ended up really, really loving this. It's not the best book I've ever read, but it was exactly what I was looking for. And I loved it. I loved the characters. I loved the journey that they went on. It was exactly what I was looking for. 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. Could see it being on my favorite standalones of 2022. Drop number 3 contained Spooky, and for this I read Devil's Snare, which is the 3rd book in the Witches of Palmetto Point series by Wendy Wang. I chose this book because our main character Charlie has the ability to communicate with ghosts, and I found both of the first books to be spooky. This one was spooky too, but it wasn't my favorite. I think I'm going like 3 stars. Then the other roll drop of this round was YA, and I ended up reading Verse Book 1, which is a YA fantasy graphic novel, and I think I'm going like 4.25 stars on this. I read the ebook of it, and I don't love reading graphic novels on ebook just because it's very hard, because I don't have an e-reader, so I'm reading it all on my phone, and it's not my favorite way to consume that particular medium. But I did end up enjoying it, and will definitely check out book 2 at some point. When I went to bed last night, I had just finished Legends and Lattes, and I had an hour and 20 minutes left in the audiobook of Warriors. Well, at the speed I was listening at, it would take me an hour and 20 minutes to finish this. So I finished this morning, and the first thing I did when I woke up was check what the roll drops were. And one of them was to scroll your feed. So I had no control over this whatsoever. The first book I came across that I had access to was Kiki Killari Breaks a Kingdom. So I haven't started this yet, but I plan to. And I think that I should be able to get through this in the next 4.5 hours. I don't think that's going to be a problem. My problem is because I couldn't control that, I loved the prompt that we got that was for the other board, which I'm going to look at the Discord. It's a book with water on the cover, watercolors, blues, or water-related items on the cover. For example, shells, mermaids, a beach. And where are they? 2 of the books I have left on my TBR have blue covers. This one even says fish, which is a water-related item. And I was like, oh, well, that's perfect. Until I did my scroll feed and got this. There is absolutely no way I can finish one of these and this in the next 4.5 hours. It's just not possible. I read fast, but not that fast. So my plan is to read the first book in the Wind Riders series. It's like, I think it's like a chapter book, but we're following these 2 kids who are on a boat. And I think in the first book, they have to help rescue sea turtles. And it's a 53-minute audiobook. So I definitely think I will be able to get through that. No problem whatsoever. Because I will probably listen to it at 3 times speed, so it'll take me around 20 minutes. So I think that's my plan, as much as I would love to read one of these because they're on my TBR. I just don't think with this, I'm going to have enough time. So I think that's my plan. I wanted to read the Wind Riders because it looks like an interesting book, even though it's I think, again, I don't have a physical copy, so I think it is like a kid's chapter book. And a bunch of the little ones in my life are starting to hit that age where they need more than just like the learn to read or picture books. So I am trying to read some books that are for that age level so I can kind of recommend them based on more than just other people's ratings for them and stuff. I want to be able to say I actually read this book and think it was decent and pass it on. So that is my plan, is to check that series out because it sounds like from the description of the series, it's a lot about how to preserve our planet and how to help our planet. And I thought that that would be a fantastic series to pass on if it's any good. So that is my plan. I'm going to go read. I'm going to hopefully knock this out in a relatively quick fashion. And then I will listen to Wind Riders. Unless for some reason I get through this a lot quicker than I thought I would. And feel like picking up one of these because I feel like I can finish it, but I highly doubt that. So I'm going to go read this and I will check back in with you at the end of the readathon. So it is time for my final check-in as I have finished my last 2 books. So for Feed Scroll, I read Kiki Killari Breaks a Kingdom. In this book, we're following a young girl named Kiki who is dealing with anxiety and kind of loses herself in her drawings until one day she realizes that the world she's been drawing is real and she's created a lot of damage there and has to go and try to help fix her mistakes. I'm going, I think 4.25 stars. I really liked Kiki as a protagonist. I enjoyed seeing the anxiety rep in this book. And again, every time I pick up a middle grade book that has anxiety rep that resembles the way I experienced anxiety, I am sad that I didn't have access to a book like that when I was a middle grader, but also grateful that a whole generation of middle graders are going to be experiencing this story with an anxiety rep and maybe seeing themselves in it. So hopefully there's a spider on my wall. Okie dokie, give me a second. I need to take care of that. Oh, nope. Nope. It just found a place I can't kill it. Great. Just what I wanted, a spider loose in my room. Anyways, so I just am glad every time I read a book that has anxiety rep in it because it is a book I wish I had had, because it would have given me the words to explain what I was feeling. I believe this is based on, yes, Indian myths and legends. So it was cool getting to see some new mythology that I hadn't been exposed to before. That spider is still moving, but it's still staying in a place where I can't really do anything to it. Ooh, 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 ooh. It is now a dead spider. I just squashed it with a tissue box. For audio purposes, I probably cut that out because it was on the wall by the camera, but I did indeed catch the spider. So no more spider in my room. So back to Kiki. I like that I got to learn about these Indian myths and see a whole new mythology I'd never heard of. And I like how Kiki draws and kind of brings this world to life, and we get to see how she has to deal with the consequences of that and how she has to handle her anxiety while doing so. I will definitely be continuing on with this series at some point. I believe the second book just came out like last week, so it may be a little bit before I get to book 2, but I won't be that far behind in this series because book 2 has only just come out. And then for the water prompt, I did end up reading Wind Rider's Rescue on Turtle Beach by Jen Marlin. This is a really, really quick book. It's definitely a chapter book for younger kids, middle grade kids. And you're following Max and I think it's Sophie. It's Sophie or Sophia. And they end up getting on a magical boat and having to rescue a clutch of sea turtles that are getting ready to hatch, and because of the bright lights might head the wrong way. So it is a relatively simple, really quick, easy read, but it talks about helping your environment, and there's some like facts at the end about Hawaii, where these turtles are, and turtles themselves, and how one can make a difference with personal choices when it comes to helping the environment and stuff like that. So I definitely think this could be a really cool series to pass on to the little ones in my life, but I'll pop a picture of the cover up here. You can see all of the water, so that covered my water prompt. So that means 8 books in 48 hours, and as of right now, we're on the final sprint, and there is 21 minutes left, and when I finished, there was a little over 35, so I smashed this. I got them all done and managed to sleep. I really enjoyed all of the books I read. I had a great readathon. I'm so excited that I was able to do a book for every single prompt, even though this one did give me pause because it was completely out of my control. It was one of the few that I was worried about because there is no control over it, whereas any of the others I could have planned a shorter book if I needed to. The only other one I was worried about was Big Book. I was worried I was going to wake up this morning to Big Book because that would mean I would have had to read 2 books, one of which had to be over 500 pages in less than 12 hours, because I was not going to be up at 7 a.m. to read if I was still up at 4 a.m. reading. That's not my sleep schedule. So I was really glad that didn't come up, but I actually looked last night, and based on Rule 3, it couldn't have come up. There was not enough numbers on the die. Like, it was, I think, 13 spaces for one and way over 12 for the other. So I knew going to bed that I had checked to make sure that wasn't going to be a possibility. So all in all, I think it was a very successful readathon. I look forward to participating in the next round, I believe in September. At least it's been in September in the past. In the meantime, I may end up playing a round if it comes up on my TBR game, which I will be filming in the next few days. I would do it tonight, but it is so incredibly hot right now. Like, incredibly hot. So I want to turn my fan back on so that I'm not broiling. So I'm going to wrap this up. So that's the end of this vlog. All of my social media, including my Discord, is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me dice emojis, like this video, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!